What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the situation that has recently been unraveling involving Christian Toby Obumseli. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his last name. And a woman allegedly by the name of Courtney Clency Tailor. I've seen Courtney Clency and I've also seen Courtney Tailor, and her name has not been released to the public as of yet because of the Baker Act. But of course, this is the age of social media and the information technology age. So, folks did their own research and found out who she is, allegedly. But Courtney is accused of having eliminated her boyfriend, Christian. Courtney is white, Christian is black. So because of that, there is some sensationalism behind that. I don't know if Courtney, allegedly did this crime out of a place of racism, or either just a lover scorned or self-defense. I don't know that. For now, I'll let the authorities handle sorting that situation out. But nevertheless, Christian Toby has been eliminated, quote unquote. And what I really want to talk about in this situation is more so sort of like the black community's reaction to this and the black community's expectation of advocacy on the behalf of Christian. And the thing is, Christian, some tweets have resurfaced, and these are tweets from Christian saying some, not so nice things about black women. And, shout out to the YouTuber Paris Milan, because she's the one that I first heard break the story, and also the first person I heard come with the social media receipts. So, kudos to Paris Milan for that. And she also recently had a live stream talking about basically should black women in particular, but I think also just black people, but especially black women, support Christian based on his, offensive tweets towards black women. And I'll read some of these tweets, right? So a friend of Christian posted the following. He said, "Black chicks are born knowing how to shake their ASS. Christian, quote unquote, honestly, I don't care. They not my type." And some of you may be thinking, well, he has a right to a preference. He don't gotta like black women. Black men don't belong to black women. Y'all can't be trying to police black men preferences. But there's more to the story, so let's continue. Another tweet, quote unquote, "Once again, I'm tired of these black girls in my government class." And Christian also talked about wanting, quote unquote, mixed babies and how, quote unquote, yellow bone girls can pull off nose rings. And Christian also expressed his admiration for Caucasian women by saying that, quote unquote, white women can cook, and that Caucasian women wearing yoga pants. So, expressing his thumbs up for, white girls in yoga pants. And I know some of you are going to be like, well, is it a crime to like, white women? Is that a crime? I don't think so. Is that deserving of being eliminated, quote unquote? No. No, you're right, but it also goes on. There's some more stuff. He's also has said, Alex has me thinking about how much I want mixed babies and ish. Shaking my head, lol. Also, the way black women disgrace themselves on TV. Mixed girls, So basically, it sounds like Toby has a preference, quote unquote, for basically white women and mixed women, or at least just lighter skinned black women, but especially white women. And it looks like he may have some bit of a something against black women. So the question that has been circulating within, black social media as of recently relating to this situation is, should black women support Christian and advocate on behalf of Christian, considering that he may not really rock with black women like that? And I'll give you just my personal take on this. And I'll say, I don't think that black women should be rushing to the defense of Christian. I think in this situation, we should perhaps let black men, non-black women who support black men, and just non-black people who support black men advocate. I think that this is a good time for black women just to sit it out and not really concern themselves. And I think that black women often have a tough time sitting things out when it involves a black man being, done wrong in some way. And also, I think that at times black women just have a difficult time minding their own business too. Because the thing is, I feel like a lot of people just expect black women to offer blanket support to black men no matter what. No matter what. And I think now is a good time for black women to essentially show the consequences of disparaging them. Like, if you are disparaging us or comparing us to other groups of women and giving us the short end of the comparison, hey, this is what's going to happen. You're going to lose black women and black women's support. And that has to always be on the table. That has to always be an option, because you can't say, oh, well, I'm going to support no matter what. Like, no matter what a black king do, I'm just going to support him, because at the end of the day, that black king is black and I'm black too. And that's what it's going to do. No, you can't be like that, or you shouldn't be like that. Because if you're going to get the same reward, whether you do good or do very bad, what's the incentive to do really good, right? Like, in this situation, like, if Toby, I keep wanting to call this dude Toby, if Christian wanted, like, let's say if Christian had the opposite types of tweets and was, uplifting black women, and saying really positive things and advocating on behalf of black women, then it would be like, hey, black women, this is a guy that you should support in this situation, right? It seems like he was on the up and up. He had a black girlfriend. He was always posting positive things and imagery about black women, etc., right? But that's not the situation. It's the opposite. But it's seemingly like he is seemingly going to get rewarded as if he's done something good. And that's also sending a message that you like, oh, this is okay. This is something that black women will accept. And many people do think that black women should just accept any and everything, especially when it comes from black men. You know, and also people make the argument about the bigger picture. Well, yeah, he may have been wrong, but it's the bigger picture, and that, oh, we got to support him because he's black, and we got to show other groups of people that, hey, you can't come and attack us. You can't come and hurt us. You can't eliminate us. While I do understand the bigger picture argument, and to an extent even agree with it, I do notice that this bigger picture argument is almost exclusively, if not exclusively, applied to black men when black men have fallen short and have messed up and, do not have the best reputation, and also have a history of anti-blackness or anti-black womanness, misogynoir, etc. I don't see this concept being applied to black women when a black woman is, caught up in a situation that's similar to Christian, right? When Lauren Smith Fields was eliminated, allegedly by by a white man. I didn't see people coming out, especially black men or even black women, coming out making the argument that, hey, we got to support this sister, right? People just automatically assumed that the sister was an anti-black man's sister, without any evidence, really. At least no evidence that I know of. If there is evidence out there, hey, let me know about it. And it was also like, that's what she gets. That's what you get for swirling, fear-mongering black women with this, swirling going wrong story, right? That's how the black community, especially black men who talked about the story, was reporting on it. Like, swirling going wrong. This is what's going to happen to you, black woman, if you go step outside and look for someone besides a black king. And also, let's be real, it's hard enough for black women who do everything right, unquote unquote, quote unquote, to get support. Like black women who are pro-black, black women who do have black men as spouses or boyfriends, baby daddies, whatever. Black women who don't have a whole bunch of kids. Like, the black women who do everything right, quote unquote, it's hard for them to get advocacy too. People aren't jumping to advocate for them like that. Like when Sandra Bland got caught up in her situation, it was like, hey, Sandra, that's your fault. That's what you get for having all that mouth. And Sandra Bland, she was on some pro-black stuff, And also Corinne Gaines, when she got caught up, right? It was like, hey, Corinne, that was your fault. And she was on some pro-black stuff too. When Breonna Taylor got caught up in her situation, it was like, hey, that's what you get for fooling with Pookies and Ray Rays and drug dealers. And I know some of you going to come through and be like, well, folks did advocate for Breonna Taylor. And as I mentioned a few times on this channel, Breonna Taylor, that situation just happened at the right time, because we all know it usually don't go down like that for black women when it comes to the black community advocating on behalf of them. Just as Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd situation happened at the right time, because we all know that people outside of the black community don't really be going hard for black male victims of police brutality like that, right? And also, Breonna Taylor's situation happened before Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd's situation, but it was largely ignored. And people are going to be saying like, well, there wasn't video footage of it. But there wasn't video footage of a lot of things that have happened to black men that we have advocated for, right? There wasn't video footage of the situation with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. And I know that Trayvon was a child at the time, but I'm just saying. And by the way, I meant to say this earlier, but I think we all know by now that the pro-black agenda is really the pro-black male agenda. So oftentimes when black women are participating in this, a lot of times their advocacy tends to center around black men. Not to say that they don't ever advocate for black women, but a lot of times it does center around black men's issues. And I think there are some black women who, want to advocate because, they have good black men in their lives and they feel like those black men are reflective of the collective because perhaps they're somewhat in a bubble. And I can understand that definitely. But there's also some black women who advocate for, less than desirable black men who have actually experienced trauma because of black men. Like, really experienced some traumatic event because of a black man, which really just, boggles my mind that those type of women would be at the forefront of advocating for black men. And I'm guessing this is some sort of a mental issue at play. I'm not trying to be funny or insulting, but I think there may be some sort of a mental issue at play. Yeah. And also another thing, a lot of people do try to play on like emotions when it comes to trying to get black women to advocate, right? It's like, it'd be something like, oh, don't you have a son or a brother? Some sort of a black male family member, right? Sort of, trying to play on black women's like maternal instincts. And of course, this has been mentioned before. I'm not trying to act like I just, thought of this myself, but this has been mentioned, right? And also trying to play on black women's fear, right? When it comes to fear mongering them from swirling and, just exploring other options, really. And oftentimes black women are thinking about exploring other options because perhaps they've just gotten to a point where they feel like they have exhausted all of their options within the black community. Also trying to shame black women, like, oh, you want to side with, white supremacy against the black man. You don't want to support black men and black issues. When, that's not really the case. It's more so she just doesn't want to support black men who are problematic, especially problematic towards black women. Like, what sense does it make to do that? Like, to support that? Like, you're supposed to support that which support you. You should not support that which does not support you. And also, I think that, folks need to be taking notes, especially black women, about who is trying to push you to support. Because you might want to watch them. You might want to scratch them off your list. Perhaps you can talk some sense into them if you have time and the patience to do that. But maybe you should just also just put them on the no-fly list. Also, a lot of people love trying to conflate random black men with being family members. I don't really see that being applied to random black women being family members. I don't really hear people singing about, that could be your sister. Yeah. That could be your mother. Oh, yeah. That could be your aunt, your grandmama, your daughter too. Oh, no. Black women, we gotta come through for you. Yeah. You don't really be hearing that. You don't really be hearing all about that stuff like that when it comes to black women for some reason. Usually when it's a black woman, a victim, it's like, what did she do? Oh, what did she do? What did that black woman do to that man? That's what black women get. Always trying to yell and have all that mouth and stuff. Maybe if she wasn't wearing a weave, that might not have happened to her. Just any and everything to dismiss the black woman in the situation and make it just seem like it was all her fault and she brought it on herself. But in terms of black men being supported, no matter how undesirable they are, thinking about that, it's no wonder that the black community is in the situation that it's in. Black men are in the situation that they're in. Black women are in the situation that they're in relating to black men as far as quality and quantity of quality black men are concerned, or is concerned, are concerned. Because seemingly black women, not all, but enough, will accept any and almost everything from a black man. And black men don't want to step up and do no advocacy for themselves or even just do better for themselves and do better for their wives, girlfriends, baby mamas, children, families, what have you. For the black men, it's always, the black single mama's fault or either his white daddy's fault. And again, these dudes, they love blaming their white daddy. It was some dude who called into like the Breakfast Club during that whole, situation with Will Smith and Chris Rock, saying that, the white man gave the black man violence. Like that literally came out of his mouth. So, that's the reason why black men are the way they are, because white man gave the black man violence. But then these same dudes, turn around and be all like, the black man is the original man, the first man, the best man. Yeah, man. Everything originates from the black man. Every man on this planet wants to be a black man. The black man, the black king, is the most imitated king on the planet. The most hated, but the most imitated. They'll say all that, but then also come through and be all like, well, the white man gave the black man violence. The white man brainwashed the black man to not liking the black woman and black woman features. The white man made the black man colorist. The white man made the black man value whiteness more than blackness. The white man made the black man a wild slave buck on the loose. Because, that's something that folks bring up too about like back in the slavery days and saying that, the white man made the black man a breeder, right? The white man made the black man breed with many black women and then didn't allow him to take care of his children. And I'm like, well, that can be an argument, not saying that slavery is, completely irrelevant. But again, I really don't see this being applied to black women when black women are, wilding out, right? When a black woman is, being, loose or promiscuous or something, people don't really bring up the fact of what black women went through on the plantation at the hands of white men, and also, being forced to have children with black men that they didn't want to have children with, and also dealing with, the angry white women on the plantation too, who had something against the black woman because she looking at her like, oh, she with my man. And then the black man on the plantation looking at her like, oh, she a sellout, or, people don't really put all that into perspective. And, when it comes to black women, like people don't factor all that in when it comes to black women saying, well, that sister may, have a hard time choosing, the right man because, sisters just had it so rough back in the day on the plantation. Sisters were so exploited on the plantation. So I'm going to give my sisters a break. You don't hear that. Please let me know where you hear that. Post it in the comment section below. But before I go, and close this video out, I just want to pose this question. Do you think, given all that you know about Christian Toby Obumseli, my apologies if I'm mispronouncing his last name. Given all that you know about Christian, do you think Christian would advocate for you, specifically you as a black woman, or even a black man, but especially a black woman? Would he advocate on your behalf if you were caught up in a situation similar to his situation? For the black women out here, do you think that if you were caught up in a similar situation, God forbid, but if you were, do you think that the black community would be having discussions about advocating for you in the bigger picture if you had some proof of being anti-black man? Honestly, I feel like you being with a non-black man, especially a white man, would be all that they need to dismiss you. No further proof is needed. You are guilty as charged. And also, you do have to remember, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. In this situation, black women have a hard time standing on something when it comes to black men and like, hey, this is just something that I'm not going to accept. And because of that, black women often just end up falling for so many negative, bad things relating to black men. And ultimately, it just ends up circling back to black women seemingly just having the black men that they deserve or that they have fostered the environment for. There was a black woman who posted in my comment section like a while ago. I don't know how long ago, but it was a while ago, basically saying something to the effect of, black women ultimately have the black men that they want. And perhaps on some level, maybe black women do want black men to be how black men currently are, like anti-black, anti-black woman, pookies, ray-rays, degenerates, sexual degenerates, con artists, thieves, robbers, swindlers, hustlers. And I think that's, also absentee fathers. Got to throw that one in there too. And I think that black men seem to be okay with that too. So essentially, black men are the black men that they want to be, and black women have the black men that they want to have. Right? But maybe I'm missing something. Perhaps I'm missing something. Let me know in the comment section below what I may be missing, and also what you think about all this whole situation right here. Into the next video. Adios and goodbye for now.